this point, I try not to think about it because we surely can't stop it.
Yeah. I believe in it, though, but that's what you get when you believe. You get what you believe.
Yeah. Yeah. And I believe that it doesn't have any control over me.
No doubt.
So,
you can hear me well, though? You can hear me well?
I can hear you well.
All right.
Okay, so I'm good. And the first song that I'm going to play is going to be this. This is our first podcast for Infinity Syndicate and Infinity Spotlight. So I'm going to do my thing with it in the beginning, and then we're going to do an introduction to you and who you are. You'll know when to come in, and then we're going to be playing your song, your music at the end of this of the show.
That sounds good.
Okay. All right, and then people, and I mean, things have been moving fast, but yeah, we're going to talk. We got about 1 more minute.
I just go with the flow.
Good, we do too.
Okay.
Flow like water.
That's what they say. Consciousness is like water.
Okay, we going live. Here we go.
This is not a code. This is not a game.
My bad. Here you go.
This is not a code. This is not a game.
Peace and love, world. I'm on the podcast right now.
They done let the Moabs in the dough.
Okay.
They done let the Moabs in the dough.
Okay.
They done let the Moabs in the dough.
Let's go.
They done let the Moabs in the dough. Islam is Allah.
Let's go.
Spirit. They done let the Moabs in the dough. They done let the Moabs in the dough. Turbans in the feds, green star, red shirt. We was in every nation before Europeans was on earth. Queen Khalifa ruled in California, and that's law. Anunnaki giants had our faces standing tall. Simulation like the Sims, the sheep ass of the black. But no
Fresh
one
start.
told us that we was
That's how I'm
never
a killer
that.
music group.
Pilgrimage to Mecca, took a trip up to Chicago. India means indigenous, come get this knowledge. All y'all live in hell, Negro, colored, African. All is well, spread my wings and fly. Slavery is fabricated, they were slaves before us. Slave to rise from Slavics, and that wasn't us, I'm focused. On the hidden history, they hid after we flooded. Free a piece of flesh, if nigga don't think I don't know it. A woman ain't no bitch, cause she's an empress, multi-titus. And we got nationality, nigga, come get like us. They done let the Moabs in the dough. They don't let the Moabs
Peace
in
and
the
love
dough.
to all the Moabs.
They don't let the Moabs in the dough.
We live on the
They don't let the
podcast.
Moabs in the dough. Islam is Allah. Spirit. They don't let the Moabs in the dough. They don't let the Moabs in the dough.
King Zakir, Morris American land, Morris American sheep, Morris American eye, indigenous people can see. Yeah, we draw the seven we got. Infinite spiritual beings, alhamdulillah for Allah. The Allah that got the Najee. Yeah, popping over to Ali. Yeah, put me in tune. Peace. Money. Nigga, we don't show them colors. The crowds, we never be black. We got a religiosity, nigga. Be on the low when you draw with me. Indigenous pussy, I know who I be. Who fuck them knowing they non-believers? Low on the draw. I be the leader. See, I'm in for the peace. Even you one of the most, we don't perpetuate peace. Holy Quran, Holy Quran, right over left in the street. This be the answer for all of the members. Larry, who can see my lead? Yes.
They don't let the Moabs in the dough. They don't let the Moabs in the dough. What's up, man? They don't let the Moabs in the dough. Peace to the guy. They don't let the Moabs in the dough. Yeah. Islam. I'm praising Allah. Allah. Right, you're right. Spirit. They don't let the Moabs in the dough. They don't let the Moabs in the dough. Oh, you a count, shoot shots. It's your own brother. What you want? Go and get the toys for George Floyd. These cases ain't grown. Got the mindset of little boys. Could it like the mafia. They made your own city, boy. Cause you rather die for a block. You don't even own it. Instead of cleaning up the streets, you driving with a dirty on 12 on your case. You could have had a free language. One from your forefathers and dropped
bars,
Real
man.
ones gonna pick at the Moabs in the dope. Jay Brand, they don't let the Moabs in the dope. Hey, they don't let the Moabs in the dope.
Peace and love.
Islam.
Peace to the
Allah.
guys.
Spirit. They don't let the Moabs
Fresco
in the
for
dope.
president.
They don't let the Moabs in the dope.
Islam. Brother got bars. Brother got bars, man.
Yes. We were introduced to this by our minister Mo Life, who actually brought us on this whole path of private member association, faith-based organization structure, something that we've been searching for over 12 years.
Oh, wow.
And look at how the divine works. Ladies and gentlemen, look at how the divine works, right? So last year, and this is the celebration, this is the first one, and look at what's happening. Last year, I ran into Mr. Don Kilam, right? And he was talking about like some freedom, and he was on some like real like language that I understood but I didn't understand it completely. I just knew that the way I was seeing him, I was like, what in the hell is he doing? What is he doing? And so it was what I needed to have at that time, because matter of fact, this was also the time that our Minister Mo introduced us to our Minister Partlow. Yes. And so I had the information. We had the information last year, and it's just the things that were happening in the world. We have a son who, we don't even like to say that he has autism. He was diagnosed with that, but we had him back. A lot of different things were happening to kind of like make us pay attention to our rights and to what we needed to do, in this long search, and we've been trusting for a long time. And so just recently, it's now a week and a few days, right? We went ahead and listened to some information that our Minister Mo sent, and our Minister, matter of fact, he invited us to a service by our Minister Partlow. And so we went to that service, and when we heard the information, you know how truth hits you when you're like, this is it, I feel it, I know it, Ache, amen, I mean, it is what it is, that's abracadabra, let's go, let's get it, this is it. That's what happened to us, right? And so then I come upstairs, right from downstairs, just feeding off of all of this mana, all of this Ache, all of this great information, and I go upstairs to my husband, and he's listening to Don Kilam. And I'm hearing your voice, and I'm like, what? I know that voice. I'm like, I remember. And then I saw Don Kilam. Look, Don Kilam is unforgettable just saying that name, okay? So I was like, okay, let me look. And then I started searching, and I saw your pretty little face, and I was like, I can't even know it's the same person from last year. And, this is how Divine speaks to us and says, this is what it is, connect with him. And so we wanted to be able to give our private members here at the layer, at MasterVibration13 layer, the opportunity to connect and recognize another being that's doing this private work on a level that is just super unique, because you're creating this, Don Kilam. This is the lane that you're creating is the lane that you're creating. And I haven't even done the proper introductions yet. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have, we're like live in motion. This is happening as we speak. And so much has been able to be put in place for this to happen. So I chair to the ancestors. I chair to all of the divine guidance that we get every single moment of the day to lead us to the right decisions and making the right choices. So without any further ado, please welcome Mr. Don Kilam.
I appreciate that. But when I first came in, I did see a lane. Like, this is a lane that I can create. Because all I have to do is talk about my life. Get paid to talk about your life. So I seen how she introduced me. I'm not sure what everybody talks about or even what the platform is. So you can go ahead and jump in anytime, cut me off, do any of that. But I start every introduction, peace and love. You're now rocking to the sounds and vibrations of your boy Don Kilam, also known as Malik Kilam. And as always, remember, prosperity is your divine birthright. I do this for informational, education, and entertainment purposes only. The struggle is truly what awoken me. And that's with anybody, truly. I believe we're all conscious beings. We just don't have clarity. We're not here to accept. Most of us is not ready to accept accountability. When I was presented with and no offense to anybody out here, these are just my opinions and beliefs. And if my opinions and beliefs offend you, I'm gonna go ahead and pray for you, because nobody's opinions and beliefs should truly offend you. If somebody presents a different way of view of life, all right, and we're all entitled to that. But I like the song that they played because I did the final piece of the puzzle that I needed. When it was given to me, I didn't have clarity though. It took some years. But I was like, oh, I know what they're saying. But it was the Moors. Shout out to the Moors. Shout out to Noble Drew Ali. Shout out to Marcus Garvey. Shout out to Malcolm X. Shout out to Elijah Muhammad. Shout out to Louis Farrakhan. All right. These are leaders that help awaken me. All right. My mom always, as you could say, if you look me up, you'll see my complexion. I'm very fair-skinned, light-skinned, whatever you want to call it. But I always knew I wasn't black. So when they're like, you're not black, you're not color folk, you're not Negro, you're not Ethiopian, I'm like, shit, duh. I know I'm not. So what am I? Oh, they said they lost me. I got to call back. I sure didn't hear nothing. I'm here, though. Because I didn't hear that. Let me call back. My bad. He said, nigga, you white, you good, though. White means purity. Purity means God, and God's supreme ruler of the air. And white people wish they had this nigga hair. But got me fucked up.
We were just talking about what you know about Mercury in retrograde, right?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
It got silent. I didn't know what was going on.
Oh, man. We're going to blame that one on Mercury in retrograde.
All right.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
So I made it clear to everyone that you guys are to leave your questions. When we open the lines for questioning, that is when you will utilize the number that you received in your email. And only at that time, we're going to make sure that this line remains, clear from Minister Don in high definition. So the last thing that we heard was when you said, when you came into the call, and perhaps you were going to refer to the Moorish, because I didn't even say it.
Yeah. What is the subject matter? I'm just going with the flow. That's what we doing.
No, we're getting to know you. But I wanted to share. Okay, so this song that I played that you just heard, this was like our second time playing this song, because it was a song that one of our ministers, let us hear, and it just made so much sense to what's going on now and this freedom call that's happening right now. So this call and this subject and what this is about freedom. And you are connected to our proclamation of freedom, because you are working under the same structures, but you have a different. You're you.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. But if you're not you won't recognize it.
Right.
If you're not researching and knowing what the truth is, you're not gonna know I'm a truth. You might call me a scam.
Absolutely. But see, and that's why you're in a private membership association where all of the people here, they know that we don't play like that. We don't get down like that.
I know,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So you are among over 800 people plus, because we've allowed our members to invite their families to this call. And here at MasterVibration13 later, we don't judge based on the way that a person delivers their truth. You know what I'm saying? So and that happens. And we want to bring that forward, because people have an idea, that because I'm a minister, I'm going to start talking a certain way that is outside of myself, outside of me. And what we are learning, what we are knowing, is that we are all ministers of what we do.
Yes.
And when you are Infinionaire, you recognize who you are. You recognize that you are not only an Infinionaire, and that you are everything. You are the I am. You are a direct extension of that source. So we see everything for what it is. Because when I look at you, Don Kilam, I see me. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? The
Yes,
people
ma'am.
in this collective of 800 plus people, we understand what's up. And we're not going to judge you by the way that you speak and the way that you share your expression of who you are. Because I know that what you are speaking is the truth. You are standing under the First Amendment of the Constitution,
Oh, wow.
and you have every right to share your truth the way that you do
Yes,
it,
ma'am.
Minister Don Kilam.
That's powerful.
Why you? I wanted to know about you. Like, how did you come into this information? What's your background like? What happened in your life that brought you to this point?
Right. So I can get that. I'll try to keep everything short because you know I like to talk. But it was really the struggle. But I need you to, like, what most people don't understand is there's always something holding your attention while you can't see the light. Like there's always something you need to switch your focus from whatever is keeping you from getting that gold. So the whole time I'm in and out of prison. All right. Now, if I knew what I knew right now, I would have never been in prison. But I'm going to prison for I damaged a car that was mine. But not understanding, I believe that the higher power talks to us in signs and symbols and events like this. If it don't make you feel good, you need to switch it up. But it's my first kid's mother. Like every time, there's always something going on. Like we beefing, fighting, you know. It's $56 worth of damage to a car, which was mine. I'm paying for all of this. And I get 7 years is what they were trying to give me like 21 years, Class C felony. I'm not understanding why this is happening. This is when my political status was first changed to black. Not knowing at the point in time what's going on. I'm 17. So I'm still a baby. She's pregnant with my kid. I'm fighting this case in and out of jail. Bonded out, go back with her. They're like, you're hanging out with the victim. My mom was there. She wrote a statement. They're like, you're trying to home plan with one of the witnesses. So boom, I couldn't win for losing. My kid's mom pregnant. She come to visit me. Boom, tampering with a witness. What is going on? So I'm in and out of prison my whole life. When I decided to quit messing with her, my life got better. Now, I ended up catching a Fed case when I left her alone, and this was for counterfeit money. All these things are important. But I've always studied the law, so I'm in and out of prison from 17 up all the way up to 24, 7 years, in and out of prison. State prison, Missouri. I catch a federal case, now I'm on my way to the feds and graduated. In between this time I'm in and out, I'm going to college, trying to make my mama proud, make my family proud, all of that. And then I'm studying law, but I come across the Moors. Like I didn't really have no choice where I was at in feds. You go in cars. And when you look at me, and this wasn't I'm in and out of jail, you're either white or you're black. And the white people was not going to accept you if you look anything like them. If you're not them, you're one of them. That's just how it is. It's racist. So white people would never accept me in jail, and my white family never accepted me out on the streets. The only people that ever been there for me is my melanated, most definitely the women. Not always the brothers, but the women will always take me in. That's just what it's always since a baby. That's why when they say the closest thing to God is a melanated woman, you can't tell me no different because a nigga ain't never did shit for me. But so I'm with the Moors now. I try to find everything which way in the Bible, but I'm looking at the Moors as gang time because they're like, you have to be with us because all these people are snitches. So you're in our car, your paperwork's good, you'll be good to walk the yard, all of that. Boom. Now, when it came back, they also let me study Wicca though, because they're like, all roads lead back to us. So you can study, you can hang out with them too. But I was a Moor on the yard. But they fall under the 5 if you know about gang time. They rock with
That's right.
They rock with the 5s, okay? But shout out to all of them. I learned from growth and development. I learned from community resistance and progression. I learned from all of these great groups that were established to protect our communities. Shout out to King Larry Hoover. Shout out to Jeff Fort. Shout out to Tukey Williams. Shout out to Omar Porte. All right? I do my research. Now, shout out to the Black Panthers for creating WIC, because I wouldn't even study law if it wasn't for Afeni Shakur. But I'm studying this stuff, and I'm like, you're not white, you're not black, you're not Ethiopian? Then what the fuck am I then? Why you ain't telling me what I am? So I just was like, man, I got out. They trying to send me back, but I studied. I was learning counterfeit money. I went for counterfeit money. I learned that only Congress can provide punishment for counterfeit money. I learned that a court is not a real court unless Congress says, hey, that's a court. Here's a delegation order. Take him to jail. These aren't real warrants. You go to jail when you say you're black. You go to jail when you get an ID. You're contracting with this 28 U.S.C. 3002, subsection 15A. United States means federal corporation. You're contracting with a corporation. This is why they have court clerks. Clerks handle money. You are the government. The government can't do nothing until you volunteer information. I learned that you was perfect, and then they defined you on a piece of paper. You was just fine, and you got defined. The first thing that brings you in this realm is an ultrasound. That's why it's important to own a record label. This is why record labels control people's souls, and people sell their soul for a record company, and they can just kill their family, okay? It sounds crazy. But I ended up getting myself out the feds when they tried to send me back. I did a psych eval, but this is when I came across brother Taj Tariq Bey's information on RV Bey Publications. Now I'm like, all this shit is spot on, but there's some things I disagree with. So the first one was natural person. I knew if I used that person word, which means persona, and I would never even know anything about words if it wasn't for Malcolm X saying, read this book called The Loom of Language. Malcolm X didn't go to no court to change his name. Dude was still flying around the world. He died of more. El Malik, you look it up. You know, you have to look at El Malik Al Shabazz Bey or something like that. He was born Malcolm Little. People don't even know that. You just know Malcolm X. You study Bob Marley, Peter Tosh. Them niggas was gangsters. You only know their legacy, peace, and love. And when I say NIGGA, that's never ignorant getting goes accomplished. But ain't nobody gonna get shot if they ain't doing nothing. If they don't have an oppressor, that's all I'm gonna say. So he was a freedom fighter. But the law, I started getting treated when I stopped being scared. They ended up letting me go when I proved I wasn't crazy, and the judge was like proud of me. Like I can't explain. This is a federal judge smiling, like, job well done, homie. You free to go home. Go home to your, he said, go home to your sons, is what he told me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? They wouldn't let me talk to that. So that's when I learned the difference between magistrate judge and then real judges. Once you get past the magistrate judge, because the magistrate judge is the one that has to proclaim you as a dead entity. You come into court, they say all rise because they just gave life to the living, they magic. I let them know out the gate, I'm not from England. I don't speak English. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. I say, yes, indeed.
Here's why they put me on a psychiatric eval. They were like, what's your name? I told them, you can't spell that in English, baby. But now I do them differently. So, you know, my mom calls me son. My children call me father. You know, you think of Donald Trump. You think of Michael Jordan. Them is businesses. Them ain't names. Same with you. They call it capital. If you was in third grade and you spelled your name in all capitalized letters, that's wrong. You got uppercase then lowercase. If I say I'm black, black is an adjective. My phone is black. So phone is the noun, black is the adjective. So this is why they say you don't know who you are. You down here talking about you got Indian in your blood. You ain't never been to India a day in your life. Is Mexico in North America? So how come they're not American? Because if you go down south and say you're American, Are North American or South American? All these invisible lines are to split us up. I don't care what state you in. It is not square. Those are invisible lines. And this is why they don't want unity, because they don't want you thinking. Conversation is the nation. The nation is whatever the people agree and speak about. Because just like you said, abracadabra, I create what I speak. I've always studied magic. And I've always been in the Wicca. And I've always known that it was our people that they called witches. Natural healers, shamans. Yeah. I don't care where you go. The last living shaman, his name was, dude that wrote about him was Don Juan Costello. He was in Mexico. They was killing off all the shamans in Mexico. And where I'm at right now, Nevada, Mexico, what'd your ancestors call it? They don't want you creating your own languages. They don't want they want you, I want to be a president when I grow up. A president runs a corporation. Mm-hmm. Our ancestors ran kingdoms. Our ancestors ran nations. Our ancestors ran different planets. You couldn't be a negus if you couldn't travel to another planet. This is just how it was broken down to me. Mm-hmm. Neguses used to run Ethiopia. Ethiopia means divided. That's why they switched all the names. And I'm talking about, it's just 100, it's not even that long ago. We was just running shit.
Right.
I'm talking about the 1800s. Like, they ended up getting Hawaii. I went over to Hawaii, hung out with royalty, and I didn't know. They taught me something new. They taught me a whole form of status correction. This is what the queen gave her people. They didn't need no army. They already had peace treaties with the United States. These people made a fake-ass corporation and was able to contract with the United States Army and take over Hawaii and make her surrender. They held the queen hostage in the castle until she signed over the rights to the kingdom. This is all facts. Look into it. So anytime you say you're a citizen, these are just my beliefs. Like I said, I'm not a licensed attorney or tax expert. Anytime you say you're a U.S. citizen, citizen means subject or property. Anytime you say you're black in their system, because if you make your own definitions, what you say goes. If you say black means beautiful, that's what it means. But you got to put it on the record. If not, they're going off Daniel Webster or whoever the fuck you got programmed with. But they follow something called Black's Law Dictionary, and it seems that your people's in tune. So this is a form of black magic. This stuff has been going around for millions of years. So I just want y'all to know, a honky could never come up with this shit. It was a nigga. Tovin Bay. You know what I'm saying? Tovin Bay. We still listen to Beethoven, Tovin Bay. That's the nigga. White people they don't have enough melanin. Melanin is brain cells. If your skin is dark or darker, or I don't care if you're a red bone, baby. You are a guardian of this galaxy. That's your job. That's how we knew you was an angel. Because of your complexion. I mean, that's just how it's given to me. Because it should be common sense right now. We're in an organic age. Organic. Everything's organic right now. So the darker you are, the more sunlight you have in you. You go outside, you get darker. If the sun don't like you, you're not organic. The sun burnt you, you're not organic. There's some shit in you that's not organic because the sun makes you grow. The real light makes you grow. The real light programs that tree to grow. It programs your food, the real food to grow. The same way with the moon. The moon is a light source and how it's given to me. And there's no book I learned this from. I just go outside and ask questions. And I don't have to ask Google. I go ask God. I go ask a tree. Y'all read off books. What they print on? They print don't paper come from trees? I'm just gonna go talk to the tree. I'm on my Buddha shit.
That's what's up. That's what it is. You know, I wanted to address the point, going back to the Moors, because that was our experience as well. That's how we started, you know, in the journey. We were living in San Bernardino at the time. Oh, wow. And we had to defend our property, what we thought was our father's property. You know, and so we were looking for ways to defend that because when our father got ill, he was a six-figure nigga, right? But they were saying the association. So as soon as the government or the city took hold of that information because the retirement homes, they work in unit. I mean, they're all part of the same club. So when somebody has a situation like my husband's father, then they alert the people, and they know that regular people don't have the, they don't have the information. They don't have the knowledge, right? And so after we were there for a while taking care of everything for him, we had to leave everything that we were doing to care for him. What they did when they found out what the situation was, they froze the assets, everything. Like everything was frozen. And then they were telling us that we had to leave the home. And so that's when we started searching. And the first place that we were guided to go was the morgue. And so that was really, it was powerful study. And it was powerful lessons. And there was, just like you, I studied the information that was offered with Taj Truth Day and at Arbor Day Publications. And there were some things that I found that were like, okay, so if I use, like what you said, persona, then I'm now putting myself, just because of this word, into the jurisdiction of their government system.
Yeah, so I stay away from natural person. I like the word living soul, but just to get away from all of that, that's why you make that name a business, a LLC, and you just say you work or represent the name.
Mm-hmm. And so I know that now.
Right.
And I reached out to the Canaan Moors. I have Moorish family all over the world.
Oh, shout out to the Canaan Moors. They in Canada, right?
Yes, they're in Canada.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to say that because I recognize who I am, I feel that everyone, the so-called dirty Moors, the Moors, everyone is the Moor, like they said in that song. And I do not know personally these King Darius, King Kier, J. Brandon Bay. This is a private organization, so I took the liberty to share this with everyone in my community because I felt like that, but I did not get their verbal permission. That's on YouTube, so it's public, so I should be able to share it with my private community. But I'm saying all of that to say that people think that when we have an association with somebody, that means that we're doing what they're doing, or that, it's like, I love all the Moors and know that we are a sick society who have been programmed and have been infiltrated with lies, and our people have taken the truth and they used it to hustle. They used it to try to make money. And so in this time, in this era of 2022, that is being separated. So you know who it is. You know what it is just by the feel of it. And the feeling is always going to tell you what it is. And so, the biggest thing for me has always been in my entire life, judge, least not be judged. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I cannot judge you based on something that somebody else may tell me about you. I cannot do that. It is against my law and what I believe in to do that. I have to have my own experience with you because I know that in connecting with you, I am connecting with all of you, your darkness and your light. And I'm not afraid of the darkness. I'm not afraid of nobody's darkness.
I'm not afraid. I learned to accept my darkness, especially when there's there's other people doing stuff worse than you, and it's just my thought is you harm none, you can do what you want. If you ain't hurting people, you can do what you want. You ain't damaging property, just like the law. You can do what you want. So if I don't hurt you, I don't damage your property, there's not a real crime committed. Now you gotta have the yin and the yang. The reason why I listen, I love who I am, but I had to learn quit being soft, especially with our people. And I'm gonna say that again, with our people, you can't be soft. If I put a suit on, though, they get soft though, because of my complexion. That's a damn shame. But you can't have the light without the dark. You can't. I learned how to embrace it. Now you got the good wolf, you got the bad wolf. They always fighting. You gotta feed whoever you feed the most. But I'm comfortable with my shadows now. But I like being able to express certain parts of myself in the public. I love it because I can't shine without shade. Yeah, but a man, I'm just gonna be honest with you though. When a man comes to me begging, especially if he got offspring, I don't like that. That's a big. A man that's begging, especially if he has offspring, because that kid is gonna follow his example. Like we don't teach our nation to beg. We teach our nation to create and manifest. You follow me?
That's the truth.
Another pet peeve of mine is allowing someone who don't look like you to tell your history or your side of the story. Listen, they're not. It's embedded in their DNA for them to not allow you to become better than them. You know, I'm not gonna say you because they know who you are, but the man, the so-called black man, the whole system is set up to destroy him. So to me, that's Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
He is us, justice, because J was the last letter added to the English alphabet. Now, I do believe in the Messiah. I believe in a lot of different stuff, but we ain't going to go there today. But I believe it has to be the woman. The woman is here to create solutions to humanity's problems. That man's going to believe whatever his mother tells him.
Okay. Yeah. That is the truth. As Minister Partlow would say, what is it that he always says? That recognize that truth. I did. And thank you so much for sharing that, Don, because, see, that's the truth. And it is the truth, and those that get it and feel it will know it, and those that don't, it's just not their time. And it's all good. It's okay. It is okay. It is okay for everyone to live the way that we are meant to live. What is happening now is that people are being called to their independence, to their own freedom. Yes. And one of the things that was shown to me was... this is how it was shown. First, they showed me Harriet Tubman. And then they tell me Harriet Tubman was supposed to free people, but she ended up putting them under another corporation. And maybe she knew it, maybe she didn't know it. But I believe that Al Sharpton's and Jesse Jackson's existed in all areas of life. It's an energy, it's a vibration. So I'm not going to, I don't trust the government system at all, not at all whatsoever, not a lick at all.
See, I do trust it. I do trust it. I trust it's going to do what it's going to do because there's no religious book, there's no history book that says they gave a fuck about you or your savior. They killed your Messiah, all of that. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses, all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. That's the black community they talking about. But the government is you. Government means to control men is of the mind. So you are the government, but you just filling out the wrong forms and volunteering the wrong information.
Yes. And I do want to say thank you to Tashriq Bey. Thank you to Arvi Bey. Thank you to Raz Mariah. Thank you to Taino and Floriano. Thank you to all of the people that have been part of our journey. And, you know, what we've been feeling is that this 508, this TMA is freedom. It is freedom for all of us, not just you and me. You know, and we wanted to bring into this platform examples of other people that are following the same truthful structure in their way, the way they express it. And so I wanted people to get to know you because, Don Kilam, regardless of what has gone on ever in all of your lives, that's not going to keep me from loving you. So
I know that's right. Yeah, when I learned to love myself, but you got to understand, once you become one with the light, you're going to attract pests. You know, so that's why I'm like, why is it so harder on the black community? Oh, duh. This the tribes they talking about. You know, that's how I looked at it. Because there's one tribe in history that got the nappy hair and the big lips and stuff. And why we can't talk about it? Why we in school and they don't want to teach us that we were pharaohs? Because look, excuse my language, I can be me. I got permission to be me.
Absolutely. 100%.
Listen, because you know, Tupac said the blacker the berry, the sweeter juice. When you hit that $1 million pussy, that's when the Pharaoh rose. That's why I said that's when the Pharaoh rose. So you gotta understand, it's always gonna be a woman. So you need to know that, man. It's a woman that's creating solution to humanity's problems because they create the problem and they want you to come to them for the solution. You going to the doctor, they're paid to fucking make sure they find something wrong with you or how that doctor gonna make money. It's called private practice for a reason.
Yeah.
Pharmaceuticals, maker of poisons. It's all now. See, Dr. Sebi had been working with celebrities. So a lot of people knew this stuff was just supposed to be hidden.
Yes. Yes. Can I tell you, I have to say a chance to Tupac Shakur because he is somebody that I did know personally. And,
oh, wow.
And I was signed to Priority Records
Oh,
in
wow.
what year was it?
Oh,
80,
wow.
I think it was 86 because I was 16 years old.
Wow.
And when I signed to Priority Records, that's when I started getting my lessons in that world. That they took my sisters and I wrote 100% of our album in Spanish and in English, and they took 100% of our publishing because the managers that we had told us that that's just what you do, that's what you're supposed to do. So we waived all our rights. It didn't matter that I was a minor because my mother was the one who signed the contract for me, so all my rights were given away. But we were on Priority Records, which is a rap label, and we were a pop group. Well, we were an R&B group, but they tried to make us pop, which is why it didn't work out.
You understand a lot of what I'm saying. So Don stands for Decide No Now, because now creates tomorrow, or Dreams Obey Narrators. I wrote the script. Now, 10 years ago, because I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't even have a full album out. And it's dropping in September on my birthday, September 16th in St. Louis, September 17th in Atlanta. And shout out to I'm a Killer music group, Fresco Crane. He wrote songs for Mariah Carey. He was signed to So Def, a lot of great things. Management's BMF, J-Bo. So that's deep. That's powerful. But I had people offering me deals. You know what I mean? 10 years ago, I would have took it. You know what I mean? But I don't know how your deal was set up, but that's how I started studying and understanding contract law, because in and out of jail, I'm always want to do music. But when I seen that, Muslims opened doors for me. And just let's start there. Muslims and then so-called people who say they're hoes. I pay hoes for information. Who you know? You know what I'm saying? Get me in the door. But I'm getting in these doors, Studio 13, Universal Records. I'm getting in doors. I'm talking about Roddy Ricch, I Am 30 Rock. I'm watching them make famous people shit. But that's when I learned the people that weren't gangsters and they started talking about getting shot at and shooting people, that started happening to them in real life. In the beginning was the word was God, and the word was with God. So they acting like they're a gangster. Now they gangsters for real. I even had a motherfucker die. Like, so that really blew my mind. Now I'm been Don Kilam since day one on my stuff. Only thing that's changed is my mouth. I got a little smarter because hey, don't waste my time. I ain't got time. I done blew up. Like I can't just keep talking to anybody. I heard you say about people if you get paid off truth, I salute it, but just make sure you being truthful. Like, don't, because if you out here trying to slang truth and you doing some shady shit, it's going to come out.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's going to come out. Hey, so just be comfortable with who you are, boy. That's all I'm going to say. But I don't want to do this no more. Just know that. I don't. But if everybody had your energy, you had, like, your group, because I don't know. I just thought it was my job to help the hood, because literally this is where I learned everything. I learned everything. I didn't know that I would never believe a black man is king if I didn't live in the hood. This man makes money no matter what. What the fuck? I'm talking about 13-year-old cutting grass. Boy made $2,000 cutting grass. I'm like, wow. Same 13-year-old led me to some Jamaicans that was teaching me sovereignty. Like, man, we don't register our cars. Just a lot of different things, man. So I learned from the struggle. They can get through anything. So when COVID hit, and I'm like, man, rich people ain't gonna know how to act right now if they ain't getting and that's when our people came up too.
Yeah.
They just didn't invest the money correctly.
Yeah. And this is what I was going to say. Everything is right on time, Don Kilam, because there's a lot of people that need this information, that need this freedom, and they need to understand that it's been, like Wizard of Oz. They've had it all along. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it's already there.
Right. And here's another thing that's really important. See, that whole structure of people following groups, although we have, I'm calling this is a private member association. Some people may call it a group. But it is about being able to be your own group and create your own group by what you believe and who you are. So you could be a Moor and you can create your own laws in what that is. And no government has the right to tell you that you can't do that. And if you're standing in your truth, let your truth be an example of who you are.
That's facts. And that's really how I learned how to live off the business first. I'm already knowing, cause soon as I started learning this, and cause they make a mockery out of truth, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
the Muslims used to say on the old movies, that's my slave name, my brother. You know how they make a mockery out of that?
Yeah.
I said, I'd be damned if they weren't telling the truth. What the fuck?
Do you know they used to do that?
What was that?
Do you know who they used to do that in the industry?
They usually.
I don't even want to waste your time so that you can hear what's in my mind. The Wayans family, color,
no doubt. That's why they got that. That's what they got paid. But at least they still putting the truth out a lot. So when I really started waking up, so what popped out at me at first was, of course, consciousness in any type of music, because that's what it is. Hip hop is higher, infinite power, healing our people. We've always used music to unlock our souls and spirits, even when we did have. Even when there was slavery, I just want you to know, ain't no white motherfucker really use our people for slavery. It was us using us. Shit. But they was using songs and used to free us in the native tongue. Motherfuckers came through. Usually when they take over a nation, they strip you away from your native tongue. So first we strip away your language, because that would strip away your consciousness with your higher power. If you was born Japanese, you said you speak Spanish, right?
Sí, yo hablo español.
So there's Spanish. I got a homie from El Salvador right now who speaks Spanish for me. But I asked him, I said, can you invoke the same feelings back home in English as you would in Spanish? He's like, no, brother. Because I asked Japanese people that. They're like, I don't like to think in English because it can't invoke certain feelings back home. And so the first thing they do is strip you away from your language. You don't even speak English no more because it's not thou shalt not. What their language does... go ahead.
I was just going to say my voice is stronger in my native tongue. And when I do my prayers, I say them in Spanish because I recognize what it is and I recognize the power of that. And we teach the people here in our nation that their culture, their community, who they are is the most important thing because that's their first connection to the ancestral realm, and they can connect with information that's going to help them in the physical world through that connection that comes from the root of who you are.
You're very rare. But yeah, it's just like the first form of media is the word. In the beginning was the word. Like that's really what made me so powerful. When I had 300 subscribers and I was still making great money, and it was due to referrals. And I started off just doing it for a little bit of nothing, but it's the experience, it's the people, and you get more confidence with filling out your spell. Spelling is just spell casting. Same way, if the Japanese person's over here, they give him a bill for $100,000 and it's written in English and all he knows is Japanese, that bill is not going to take his energy like it would us.
Right.
And like I said, the language changes over time to distort the frequency, but the first thing they do is make sure your language punishes the truth. Because when you begin to lie, you get multiple personality disorders. You start acting out a character. This is where people start going crazy. So the kid spills the milk, boom. The parent comes in, did you spill the milk? And the kid says yes, and the kid gets in trouble. The next time the kid spills the milk and they ask, the kid going to try to clean it up, lie, do whatever. You follow me?
Yeah.
And that's the same way with and then if you didn't, so once they get you on the language, then they feed you a religion. And it's going to always make you inferior. It's never going to truly empower you. It's going to make you keep coming to them. And then go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
You talked about children, and I want you to talk on how important it is for people to have private education associations when this government tries to come and tell you that you can't homeschool your kid unless you have a shot or a bag.
Yeah, so so if you didn't take the language, then they behead your leader. So just remember that. You come up with a language, maybe you should just keep it in between you and your circle. Now, I'm going through certain things like this right now because one of my offsprings, their mother is a teacher, so she believes in the system. And I've helped school teachers, all of that. But most of them, I try to help them get an income. They can come out that life. But sometimes we need a mentor to tell them the truth too. Somebody that is in the system. But the first thing I would do, you got to understand, a parent is a pair who rents. They'll never call you the mother or father. Political status and labels are important. Mr. is a slave title. Mrs. is a slave title. Remember, kings, queens, empresses, emperors, things like that. Those are people who own kingdoms. A corporation can never own land, just property. They convert you to property. That's what they do. That's what the system's based upon. But there's always cheat codes because you're the one who created this shit. Now, parent is a pair who rents. I would at least, bare minimum, make my name an LLC. You can do an S Corp, that's fine. You can do a C Corp, whatever makes sense to you in the business world. But LLC seems to be the easiest for me to explain. And it's limited liability company. This is just a form of a public trust that will be recognized inside the so-called state that you live in. Because any of these entities don't have licenses or LLCs with the state. If you sign up for a benefit such as food stamps, Medicaid, you're pledging your children. You're pledging yourself. You're pledging your children as property. Now, once you got your name, first, middle, last name, make it a business. Like I said, I would do LLC. Anytime they ask, are you Jane Doe? I represent Jane Doe. And if they ask me, I'm gonna say that bitch owe me some money. I'm looking for her too. Where's she at? You know what I mean? Because I am who I say I am. You're not the same flesh you was when you was born. So you can't say you're the same name. You change over time. Every 7 years, you got different cells on your whole body.
That's right.
You got to quit getting attached and thinking we're this name, because this is where the voodoo is coming. If me and you are playing with dolls, and I say this doll goes to jail and his name is Ken, and Ken really goes to jail, that's like voodoo. So when you get a piece of paper with some ink and curved lines, dots on it, and you make a man or a woman believe that they're supposed to go to jail and they're black or whatever it is, that is voodoo. That's a form of voodoo.
Yes, it is.
But people don't look at it like that.
They don't. And it has all been a program that has been perpetuated by the media since forever, since way before we were here in this physical space. You know what I'm saying? Our physical person's flesh suit here now. So this has been going on way long. One of the things that we teach our organization of people is that your birth certificate is a bond, and that bond, if you authenticate it, and you do the proper procedure to authenticate it, and then you say, okay, y'all agreeing, right, that this bond is real, this is the real deal, this is, y'all stamped it with your shit and everything, right? All right, so we agree. And then we take that bond and we contribute that bond to our faith-based organization. And so now that bond is a faith document and it belongs to the church. And there is nothing that they could do about it, nothing they could say about it. They can't keep selling that number in the stock market like they do. But if they do, they need to run me my money.
No doubt. Or then once you got it in the private, then your church can create your own. It's called a certificate of nativity. And, you just put that in your family Bible. That's why I understand that trust estate planning, because if you have your estate planned correctly, it bypasses probate, which means court. That's why they call it probation. Ation means action. You're bringing probate to action. And you become the property, the surety. Now, I don't even bring the birth certificate in. If they ask them to look for a defendant or something, that's when I give them the birth certificate. This is what you're looking for, because it's a contract. Mm-hmm. When you buy a house, you ain't buy no house, you buy a fucking contract called a mortgage.
Very good information. And let me just let our listeners know that you can find this information at donkilam.com. And Don Kilam has University of Don Kilam. So the information that he has learned, he is offering it to others as well. And this is what makes him a minister. See, he's been a minister before he was ever ordained, if he's even ordained. And I'm not, asking him his private information. But what I'm saying is that everyone has a right to that.
Yes. And most of the stuff is just free. It's just all about learning and becoming whatever it is you're seeking. Just allowing it to come to you like water. There's a reason why you seek it. Imagination is imagination. But let's get back to the children part. So children mean property of a corporation. So if you don't make your kids a business as well, the easiest way would be, it's called a doing business as name or a fictitious name. And this would be owned by the LLC name, the parent corporation, or the parents. So, and then when you start getting into holding companies, then you don't have to report to the IRS. You can remain anonymous and all that in the charge and order states, but that's a whole nother election. But making sure that your name's a business and your child's name's a business, because they get you to come through publications. And if you own the name, they can't publicize your name without your permission. You can sue them. You know, make your name copywritten. There's a reason why you don't know your old names, because all these names over here, they like to claim them. Excuse me. So like you,
Go ahead.
did you grow up knowing who Moses was?
Did I grow up knowing who Moses was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican.
What's his last name?
Moses. I don't know if Moses.
Yeah. I'm talking about Moses in the Bible.
Moses in the Bible? I don't know.
What doctorate and degree did he have? Because he went to the best school. He grew up in Egypt.
I don't have any of that information.
All right. I mean, who does? So this is why it's important. We can't get caught up on stuff like that.
Right, right.
You follow me? That's all. Now, I want to bring something up. Because our ancestors spoke to metaphors and parables. I say Jesus means he is us. Jesus means justice. Jesus is the sun. What wakes you up every day. Now, the reason why it was given to me, the reason why they hid Jesus in Egypt is because white folks was looking for him. That's enough said. He had to blend in with his people. You follow me?
I follow you.
I'm just trying to show y'all, people don't understand who the lost sheep is. They got to look in the mirror and start waking up. This is their land already. You just got to claim it. Now, did you get them to back up off what they was trying to do with your family stuff?
Oh, no. That was in the beginning of our whole situation. We lost everything.
Wow.
We were in there walking into their jurisdiction, telling them that we're not in their jurisdiction, but everything that we were submitting was putting us back in their jurisdiction. So they weren't really listening to us.
Did you learn about land trusts after that and patents?
Yes, definitely.
All right, because that's important. And then you can even claim your own nation through using the internet. You know, I've set up businesses saying my address is an email address. I noticed that Facebook from the beginning was their own nation. I didn't understand it with MySpace, but I understood it more with Facebook, you know. And then everybody should know now, when they create the Metroverse, the World Wide Web is its own jurisdiction. Everything that
that's important. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know, just like where California, that is a made up jurisdiction. That only reason why we believe that is because, first of all, that's what they programmed us with, but it's written in a book somewhere. You know, our ancestors called it something different. So when I learned that, that's why I became an author. I'm giving y'all $1 million with the game right now. So I created the Kingdom of Kilam. And if they're searching for it, it's in one of Don Kalam's books. As simple as that. And that's how I can prove it. Because that's how they prove the United States exists. It's right here in the book. It's in your Google Maps. Look at Google Maps. Look at Oklahoma. They ain't Oklahoma. They gave all that back to the natives.
Wow.
Google Map it. Choctaw got their section back. Cherokees, all of that. Arizona. And that's why what?
That's what they're afraid of. That's what the government is afraid of, is the rise of our people, because it's happening regardless of what it looks like and what the illusion is saying. We know what's up. We know what's happening.
They want you to think they're all light-skinned, so you can call them Indians from India.
Mm-hmm.
The real Indians are not. Real Indians are from India. The Aboriginals, the I like to say the originals, because if I said you're abnormal, that means you're not normal. AB means no in their jurisdiction. So you are the original. And my shirt is black right now. The originals were some dark motherfuckers. They weren't just all light-skinned Indians. All this stuff was reconstructed. Some of my ancestors that they don't want you to know are still alive. They just be hiding them underground.
Yeah.
You can live up to 1,000 years. That's why they coming for your melanin.
Mm-hmm.
Easy, but it's the stuff we eat, the stuff we believe. They just closing down hemispheres of our mind.
I've told this story before, son, and I'm going to say it and tell it again because you're here. But we work, and we are a private company, so I'm comfortable in sharing that we worked with someone. The work that we do is Oregon scalar technology work, right? So we worked with this gentleman. He's a doctor, and he worked for the FBI, what is it? Area 51, Black Ops, that's what it was. And so he was making Oregon, right? And he had his version of Oregon. And once he connected to ours, he connected to us, and he said that he needed to have our work. And I was like, well, you already do this work. He was the white man, by the way, an Anglo man. And I said, you already do this work, doctor, so why do you need it from us? He said, because I don't have what you have. He said that melanin is necessary for this work. It makes it more powerful.
A computer can't even work without melanin.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add that for confirmation to what you're sharing.
Like, I'm a computer programmer. I'm a computer tech. Listen, I've done a lot of stuff. I even went to nursing school, man. Paralegal studies. I've done a lot. But as far as being a computer programmer, computer tech, computer networking, a computer cannot operate without melanin. They need melanin to create computer chips. And
they need melanin to make that metaverse work, too.
Hell yeah. You got to think about it. Listen, check me out. I'm going to break down how melanin was given to me in the hip-hop community. You need 6.5 ounces. It might be 7.5. Could be wrong. It's one of those. You can't get to the ethers. What is the ethers? This is the creative realm, the thought realm. This is why hip-hop influences the world. They changed it to rap, the frequency. They blame it on Britney Spears, though. I don't know who it was, though. But you bring it down, and when you bring it down, they can't make sense of it. They had to create something called art. It's art to them, okay? And then they can sell it. You know what I mean? The whole game is to strip you from who you are and sell your culture. Sell your God essence.
Mm-hmm.
Extort
Absolutely.
your soul. Because if they got your labor, that's all a slave is. They want your labor. They need your attention. They need your focus. Everything been free, and now people's knowing, so they give you free Wi-Fi so they can keep you in tune with what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you see,
I know.
All right, go ahead.
I know that I was interrupting you, so I just wanted to make sure that we got the whole gist of what you were speaking on in terms of the children and the court system. I believe we did, but just in case I might have cut you off.
Hit me with some questions if you need to. But because it's a little process. But the reason why I help a lot of people with child support. Okay. Now, this is my opinion and belief. Now, I believe the only child support there is, the mother has to figure out how to keep them together. Because a man comes from a woman, he only gonna listen to a woman. And we should never bring any outside source into our private affairs.
Never.
And that's just another form of dividing our family. That's why they call them divisional courts. They complete the circuits. Now, what they use to give you food stamps and Medicaid and all that comes from a grant called TANF, TANF. So if you're receiving grant money from the government, why the fuck would you make him pay it back? He can't even get a job and go get a house now. Trust me, that was me. I learned how to be an independent contractor early. I'm not paying no child support. You know, I used to sell weed, so I need my money. You know what I mean? I got to go re-up. I done got a front. My man ain't going.
Right.
He is not going to understand me trying to show him a check stub talking about, hey man, child support finally hit me. My
Right.
man gonna come search me out. No, man. So I had to figure it out. So that, and when I started digging deeper, because my first battle with child support, I didn't get what I wanted. They didn't take me off, but they did make it $1 a month. So that's a win to me.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that was good. It's interesting because I have a suggestion for women who have, because here's what happens too. A lot of women do get trapped into that situation and they feel so desperate and mad and angry because we all know that first we got to work on the person, the individual, the mind, the chakra system, the self, right? But for those women that are in a situation where that has happened and maybe they got back together and, you know, now they're mad because now the county got them already. And even if you're not with that person, you can always take, if child support is giving you money through the, you know, you're getting a check and you're getting government assistance. First of all, I don't think that you could get both, but you just give that money back to, you know, to the other parent. You know, but that also you have to have a solid relationship with one another and know that at the end of the day, you can't let the system put you against your people.
These are spells. So you got to know, man, this is, if you're allowing them to print your essence in these publications, this is taking part of your soul, man. But like, just on my opinion, like, first of all, you shouldn't be trying to create the future, because when you're creating human life, you're altering the future now. So, when you get with somebody, y'all should have goals. How long you been married?
32 years.
I mean, y'all must have common goals. Y'all must continue to progress, because that's rare too these days. Obviously,
let me just say that our marriage we never went to the government. Our marriage is in trust, and it's right. Common law, and we have our own private contracts about our marriage. There's nobody. And that's part of the reason why we have survived 32 years, because people get into these contracts that are actual spells to keep you in their bondage, and it creates drama and trouble in the relationships. We'll talk about that another time, but I digress. Go ahead, Don.
I said, no doubt, that's a beautiful thing too. But like, if me and my wife we're doing something in the private, we don't need nobody else to tell us, hey, this is what it is, because they're creating, that's another bond. Speaking of bonds, a marriage license is a bond. You know, a license is they're getting insurance on it. I mean, it's just that simple. You know, we used to get married in the church. Now the church is selling you to the state. A husband is a husband. When they say you're a husband, the way they put it is that he's a farmer, and then you're his gardening tool. That's where they're getting that whole stuff from. You know?
So please educate me or teach me on this. So you said husband, because I call my husband. Yeah,
you would be my consort. You would be his consort. Some people would say. Now me, I would just call you empress, and that's the emperor. Now if I was around him, I wouldn't even look at you. It sounds crazy though. I respect my people that real this. But
yeah, and that's respect, and it's important because people need to know that, because they think that just because the name that I carry on is Sex Energy Goddess 13. That's what SEG 13 stands for. So through my life and through my ministry, I have dealt with a lot of that energy and it has to be that way, because I healed myself from sexual trauma. I healed myself from all of those things with the help of Allah, Most High.
Where's that podcast at? I got a lot of people that need to hear that one.
Oh, I used to look. My husband and I used to minister because my husband is a professional. Well, we won't call. He's a professional. He's just not a licensed pugilist, the boxer. And so we had a broadcast. You know, I was in the broadcasting industry as well. So when I left that world, we created our own thing. And through that broadcast, one of the things that was really important to me was helping women. I help women.
Me too.
And so, okay. And so one of the things that we would do is when we discovered video media before, there was a company called Hello World. And so we were with that company. So before there was video and everybody could see themselves, we were using a company called Hello World, and we were schooling strippers to not be at the strip club and be able to create your own situation. This is before Pornhub. This is before all that situation happened. We were empowering women to be their own pimps. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
it's like
they won't listen.
Yeah.
Hey, there's very few that's ready though. But I was trying to teach them just, hey, your name's a business. Quit going to jail, ho. You know?
Yeah. If we don't have the mind, that's what we discovered during the process, is that everybody didn't have our vision, and those women were captivated by their pimps or by their, for
there's no such thing. You either a pimp or a trick. You're either a producer or a consumer. You're an alpha or a beta. And I really teach stuff like this. I've even had pimps come to me and try to pay me to shut me up, because I'm getting to some women. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know the oldest professions, because you spiritual, is taxes, tax people, and then prostitutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you can't be giving up your soul like that. If not, because you're a healer, they're a form of a healer.
That's right.
All right, so they need to learn Reiki. They need to learn something. And if they can't learn anything, I'm gonna show you how to get his soul. You get his power if he ain't using it. If he's sliding in you and he's not using his talents for good, guess what? You can get those mentally when y'all, because sex is for creating the future.
That is the truth.
It's the yin and the yang, the positive and negative. And they don't know how to use it right. You can level the up. But they're not ready for it. Not everybody ready for that, though.
$dollars for a trust, and they gave us a big ass, and it's a nice trust. The trust is like solid. It's a foreign trust, and I won't get into the details of that, but I will say that in order for it to function in the proper way, you would also need a separate business trust and a separate non-profit profit, and you would have to organize it in the proper way in order for it to really function the way that it's supposed to. That's that kind of vehicle. But when we learned about 508c1a and PMAs, we were like, this is the way to go, because what we're doing is faith-based, period. It's what we believe, right? And everything created, we have the power to do. The PMA is like an LLC. So we have the power and the authority to do that because we say that. We are our own government. That's what it is up here in the Infinity Syndicate, in the Infinity Church, in the Infinity Ministry. We say that. And so it is. And so once you know that information, what Master Vibration 13 provides is for people to learn a person that attracts wealth infinitely because they live in their passion. You have to be able to know who you are. You gotta know how to run your vehicle. And your first vehicle is this self, this meat suit. You gotta know what it consists of. The meat suit and the inner body of that. Your energy centers. You gotta know what they are. You have to have a ritual for yourself that is going to keep you in balance. That's what it is. And that's why I don't, I shock people a lot, and the people in my community already know that, because sometimes I add a motherfucker so the ignorant niggas hear me.
Oh,
I
shit.
said,
Oh, shit.
so that's how it has to be, and this is how this expression is felt, because it'll give a person chills, and they need that. So they don't need the truth to be, put to them, oh, well, and so one day the Father, Lord Jesus, came to the earth, and like, that's done. Like, that's yesterday. That's the powers that were. We are the power now, and we are here to be in our position and stand in it so that we can not be bothered through the chaos that is being projected among the masses. We are not the masses, and we know that. And so I know that we've taken a lot of your time.
No, you fine. You fine.
Okay.
You sat here talking like me. I'm trying. Your husband is the truth. He a reflection of you, baby. He a reflection of you. Y'all a reflection of each other.
You kept saying that the goddess is the solution, and I was smiling because this goddess got her solution. And let me also say this, because a lot of women get it twisted. Because, they see that I'm in the front, and they always are hearing me speak. And my king, he doesn't say a whole lot except for when he has to say it. The energy that I am, that I bring, sometimes people think that I'm just like super duper aggressive. We don't have many sides to the personalities that we are. And for my king, I am his servant. I cook for him. I clean for him. He wants me to wipe his ass. I will wipe it.
I know that's right.
His toes. I'm going to do that all the time, every day. When he wants it and when he don't want it, because I love him that much. And I know that he would do the same for me. So it's important for us to start projecting relationships among people that love each other. It doesn't have to be our way. This is just what we did. This is what we are in contract to love each other unconditionally. So we did that. So what does that mean to us is different than what it might mean to Don Kilam. Don Kilam might need another situation going on.
Right.
I was just talking to my daughter today, and I was telling her just about how women, they have, women that have children from other men are always looked at like something really bad, right? And I have to put an example of Miss Erykah Badu. I said to Erykah Badu, because Erykah Badu is not playing. Erykah Badu has a seed from the DOC. Erykah Badu has a seed from Andre 3000. Erykah Badu has a seed from J Electronica. And Erykah Badu has, there's another one.
Don Kilam. Shout out to Dallas, Texas.
Yes, all right. We'll see if she's down for that.
I love her.
An example of the power of the goddess and the power of the sacred goddess, the sex energy goddess that knows what she came here to create. So she's not concerned about anybody's thoughts about, she got different baby daddies or whatever. I'm sure she's heard it all. But see, this is a woman who knows who she is. And this is another one of those goddesses that I always stand behind her and her work, because she has been in the thrones and in those places of what they call like the Illuminati. But she knows who she is. And there's some people that in that system and cannot be penetrated. And she is one, I will say that. And so,
and whoever she helped create, like Common and Big Boy.
Absolutely.
Shit.
Absolutely saying that. Thank you for saying that.
Their whole swag changed. Their whole life changed. She shifted their paradigms. Just like if the wrong person slid inside you, you would drive them crazy because you're so powerful. You know, the right one you would drive crazy and still elevate, because you're not gonna stay stagnant. You can't stay stagnant. So either it's gonna get toxic, or you're gonna hit the yin, or you're gonna hit the yang. Which one she gonna make me hit?
Thank you for that. Yes. And look, our Minister Erykah was one of my first ministers. It goes on and on.
Okay.
And on and on. Yes, it was her and Minister Jill Scott and all of these. Look, there's so many of them that I want to go and reach out and say there is a solution. I have worked with writers that have worked with really big people, and they haven't been able to get out of their contract. And now they're do it because of this information. They just didn't have the knowledge, and you had some people that were charging them thousands and thousands of dollars that they didn't have available to them so that they can get out of their contracts, and it made it I mean, but it was their path to learn. Like, I never feel sorry for anybody for anything because we all create a reality and we live our challenges for our own benefit. So,
I don't help. I no longer help people get out of blood contracts or anything like that because you don't want the wrong entities to come after you. Now, understand, once you do start learning certain things and updating statuses and learning who you are, you're going to have parallel entities that you know nothing about after you. Like the first one in the hip-hop community is called BOSS, Bureau of Secret Service. And it's free to anybody if you get the Freedom of Information Act. But if you're in jail, you sign a plea agreement, which plea means to beg. You can only get a bargain at a grocery store or something. So knowing these things, they will start compiling a report and having secret entities on you. The FBI was created from Marcus Garvey. Like, a lot of people don't know that. Like, they said there will not be a black messiah in the United States. We will off that black ass. Period. But they couldn't touch him. They had to create a case and send him back to his country.
Yeah.
That's all they could do.
We interviewed Latrell Osborne, which was the first black man in the FBI, and he schooled us about COINTELPRO and what was going on with the black people.
Ooh, that's you powerful, girl.
I did.
You know some people, girl. You know some people. I didn't know how powerful I was until I'm sitting down with these people. They're like, I'm at E7 and I didn't even have this information. So I'm like, damn, God, what is God? Because I get wisdom from the Most High. So I'm like, damn, like, ain't no security clearance level if you just asking God for the right wisdom. I'm talking about I sit down with a lot of people and they're just amazed by the things I know. But I get a lot of like military, police, and special forces because they're taught just a little bit, okay? They're taught how to use their name, how to use their social in another country if they're ever a prisoner of war. So they can get credit. They can go to pawn shops, which stores to go to, which stores to tell, hey, this is how you look up my birth certificate. Every federal prison, state prison, if people call you, they'll be like, you now have a call from an offender, add money to their trust account. You take them to, if you got to go see a doctor outside the prison, that's getting charged to the Social Security number. That's the account number.
That's how they're getting their money.
Yeah, well, credit. Ain't no money, it's just credits in this system. They used to sell Jesus out for gold. Now they just give you credits and paper. It's worthless.
So, there's a lot of people that work at Walmart, and people that work at Walmart, they get insured. They get insured by Walmart. Can you explain why it is that Walmart is able to put insurance for their employees?
I didn't even know that, but I know they run Walmart like it's kind of like Sam's Club, like, because they're kind of, Sam's Club is like a PMA, private membership association. So, I know the Waltons sold most of everything on Walmart. I'm not sure, but they obviously, if they're insuring you, that means you're their property.
Yeah. Okay. And so with that, I will, because I do want to introduce you to our Minister Partlow. He's the one who ordained us, and he's been doing this for 57 years. And he was a former Marine, and he did what he had to do in his own private business to be able to get out of the confines of the government. So he's a great example of how this works on those levels as well. There's also a minister by the name of Dave Edwards. Those of you that are here in our community, in our private community, you have seen the video of Dave Edwards being interviewed by Mama Lucian. I'm talking about these 508s and the PMAs. And this is really important to know because this started happening in 2021. That's when we started seeing, that's when I saw, like I've seen your stuff since 2020, Don, but I started seeing more of, when I look at all of the information that I've been researching, it's been flowing after 2021, and it came up with I was looking at a lot of the Anglo people that were doing it because you have a lot of chiropractors and small business people that are trying to get out of under, the government and their system.
You the one sending chiropractors my way, girl? I've been getting a lot of those. Then my back started hurting. That's funny. That's so funny. But for real, they're practicing Reiki and all types of stuff, so it's tight. That real, like licensed chiropractors are spiritual. Like it's that's mind blowing to me.
Well, you know what's interesting is that in the system, though, they want to misconstrue it, because if it's a licensed chiropractor, he's not giving you nothing about no spirituality. I know that.
Well, I know this one I'm working with is he works for like Olympics and sports teams and stuff like that. But he be dropping spiritual knowledge on them too.
See, and this is why this raise of energy is coming from people, because I'm going to give you an example. We have somebody in our organization who's a yoga instructor, and so she has people in her network that one of the instructors started saying Om at the end of the session, and the people that own the shop, they were saying, nah, you can't do that. You can't say Om. We don't, You can't do none of the spirituality stuff. And so she was like, well, I ain't doing it. So now we're needing for these private people that are doing God's work to be protected.
Have you done yoga?
Yes, sir.
Can we do yoga without spirituality? I mean, it's called stretching.
That's what I'm saying. And they want to misconstrue it because they want to change the name of what yoga is and turn it into, put it in their organization.
I'm not
right?
with that. I'm not okay with that. I know people that woke up strictly from yoga. They would not understand me if they never went to yoga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important. It's part of your healing. It's our natural way to heal, because we have the power and authority to heal ourselves, and nature all around us confirms that.
Yes.
Before it gets too late, I want to open up the lines,
all right,
because I know
go.
you guys are waiting for questions. So I'm going to open up the lines. Those of you that have the number that came into your email are the ones that are able to call. And once the person calls, wait until they get off the line before the next person calls in, so that we don't have a jumble of a whole bunch of people trying to call in at one time. So those of you that have the number, I will not repeat the number on this podcast. It is a private number, and you have to be a part of this organization to have that number. Okay, we have a first caller calling in from the 510 area code. You are on the welcome. Hello? Mari? Turn down the mic on your computer so that we don't the 510 area code. Okay. You are on the line. Welcome. Thank you. Hi.
Yeah, we get this out there.
Pero tienes que apagarle el volumen a la computadora o al teléfono, ¿ok?
¿Ahora está bien?
Ahora está bien, sí. All right.
Okay. Hi, greetings, Zaina. ¿Cómo está, Mari? How's everybody? I had two questions. One was regarding what you guys were touching on as far as licensing, because as I had mentioned with you before, I'm kind of feeling some kind of way about getting licensed as an acupuncturist, because of, just feeling like my skills are going to be just as great with or without it. And I know what I know. And what I do, the spirituality flows through that too. So wondering that. And my second question is the 508 something that I'd be able to skip the licensing process. My second question is about being indigenous and knowing our indigenous lineage. For example, Homa, and being Chitamacha from here in Louisiana. If that would change anything going to a 508, or if there's a different route that I would need to take. So
I'm going to let John Kilam answer the ones he would like to, and I'll pick up wherever you would like if there's other ones that you're not able to, John Kilam.
All right, just recap the question you want me to answer.
Okay, so first question is it necessary for me to still get licensed and do the 508? Because I personally have been feeling some kind of way about going through the licensing process to become a licensed acupuncturist. So if I'd be able to skip that and just go ahead and open up something without being licensed. Because that's just taking a test. My skills and everything aren't going to be any different. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you for answering the question for me, because the feeling always wins. So if you feel like you don't need a license, don't get it. Because it's not necessarily if you're learning about private and learning about the private. But if you got something to prove to the community and you don't understand how to operate in the private, then get the license, if that makes sense. You know, you ever heard of Amish people? Because you said Louisiana. I know there'll be some Amish people that travel down there sometimes. Amish people don't do nothing. They don't do nothing with the government. That's why they don't go to jail.
Okay.
If they had a license, they ass would go to jail with that little horse and buggy on the road. You hear me?
Yeah. And then the second question is, like I know, you know, some folks identify as Moors and and whatnot. We identify different. Well, so my question is for someone who has, like for me, being Homa and Chitamacha, indigenous from here, if would that change anything operating under 508, or is there a different route that we need to take? And I will also mention that I'm unenrolled, but that's a whole different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm unenrolled with a lot of things, because when you start learning the truth about nationality, you might make your own, but you can declare nationality at any given time. You can change your nationality at any given time. So just whatever makes sense to you. As long as you know you're not an adjective, you're not white or black. That's how they get jurisdiction. It's called color of law, colorable courts. Color just means a semblance of something that's real but not real. So whatever makes sense to you. So those nationalities, you can still utilize them. You don't have to be enrolled with anything. All you have to do is verbalize it. That's where the declaration comes from. Spoken declaration. Yeah, but you have to declare your independence. You have to. So I always like to say, when dealing with any courts or corporations, because corpse means dead body, Asian means action. So you bring the dead body life. I always make sure that if I do claim a nationality, I'll put that I'm a living soul as well. But also say you put Homa. You said Homa, right?
Homa, Arawak, and Chitamacha.
I would put white in front of any of those, like a white Homa. White means purity, purity means God, God's supreme ruler of the land. So just white, and then
you said white?
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand white privilege. You don't become a slave. You don't become a slave utilizing white until you start utilizing that social. But when it comes to the nationality, you can put white in front of your nationality. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. When it comes to like state courts, because if they have to mark you down as anything, they're gonna put white first. But
it's okay. It's the matrix, and it's like once you start getting used to the information, it's going to start flowing differently. We're definitely going to continue on with the study of what these 508 and 501, 501, 508.
She's perfect. She's perfect. She's perfect if she operates under a 501, a 508. But if you're gonna deal in the public, because they can donate services for your time. But like, say you wanted to get a building or something, I would contract with an LLC, and say you want to rent out space or anything like that. You have them pay the LLC, then the LLC donates that money to your 508. So just like you have a PMA, you can have a LLC set up as just a private member. That's one private member.
Mm-hmm. And you're gonna learn. Look, we are learning all about this, and it's gonna be like really easy for you to understand, trust, and believe that. You had one other question?
And you got that, right?
No, I asked them both, and thanks for saying that, it's going to take some time, so this is a lot to...
Yeah, it is, but just tell yourself you already know it,
Yes.
Act like you already know it. When you by yourself, be thanking yourself you've received all the answers. Before you ask Google, go look in the mirror and ask yourself. And then when you're done asking questions... because you're going to see how your higher power talks to you in signs, symbols, and events. You can quit asking questions and start telling yourself what it's going to be. Because the best way to predict the future is by creating it. Now creates tomorrow.
John, can I get into my Master Vibration 13 study group? I think you have.
No, I don't think so. But like, cause I was live on part of this call. They want to know, how do they sign up to your group? What's the website? I need all of that. They ready for it.
Perfect. Well, as far as they definitely have to. Well, when they come to MasterVibration13.com, they tell me how they find out about the layer, and if they have the right code, they can come in. And the right code is basically who referred you. And so we always know who's in here at all times. So that's how we get down over here. And you are welcome, John Kilam, to come yourself and become a member of our community, and we can help each other in a lot of ways. So
no doubt, I would love to get behind you, because you like this, man. You're powerful, and there's nobody talking like you out here. Not no women, anyways.
Gracias very much, and I thank my husband too.
Oh man, hell yeah.
And I also want to say that we will be having more people like Don Kilam. Minister Partlow is going to be joining us, and he's going to be taking it on another level as well, because what I wanted to present to people was the structure and what they are, what different people are doing with it, and we have different aspects of it. And the most important thing to remember is that everything is about the detail is so important. You know what I'm saying? And we got a lot of food today from Don Kilam. I also want to encourage you all to support Don Kilam's ministry, and you can always make a donation to his organization, and I'm sure he'll be happy to share his Cash App information with the community as well, so that you guys could contribute to what he's doing in the world. If anyone has any other questions, the line is open, and you are welcome to call in and ask.
And anybody that's listening to this, just make sure I know that you are joining me or whatever it is from this website as well, or you're part of her group, so I know. And she does have access to my private website. If she decides to give it to you, I'm okay with that. Just get it from her. Drop a donation for her.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, no doubt.
We appreciate that. And because we understand that everything is an exchange, Don Kilam, we are going to have a space for your university here at Master Vibration 13 Layers.
Whatever you need as far as the ebooks, you got it. Just let me know. You come across something you need, I'll give it to you. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we work. And you already know I've been showing you some of the energy work that we do. So you better believe that we're going to be contributing to that as well. So the lines are open. I think that everybody here in the Infinity Syndicate, they already know how we get down. It's like we don't like to waste nobody's time and have 4 or 5 hour calls. It is a Sunday. Right. I want people to go live. It's a lot of information to process, but know that you're in the right place, and this is the right time. And as Don Kilam said himself, you have to know yourself. You got to trust yourself. Ask yourself these questions so that you can get the answer